yourself. I want you to teach me why having sex with your mother is wrong by the standards of atheism. If an atheist goes and has sex with his mother, why should he feel guilty?
Because it completely diminishes well-being. It's wrong. We know that this
Why?
would be...
She's enjoying it, you're enjoying it, what's the problem?
Consent over everything!
If they're both consenting adults,
If they're both consenting adults, thank you. If the mother consents, okay. So if the mother consents and the son consents, they both can do it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I can't. I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to stop two consenting adults to do something that they're both consenting.
Is that wrong? What they're doing, is it wrong?
I think it's weird.
I'm asking, is it wrong or right?
I'm saying it's weird. That's my answer.
Fine, it is weird. I get the point. I'm not asking about whether it's weird. I know it's weird.
No, that's my answer.
It's perverted. I'm going to go further. It's perverted, right? I am asking whether it's wrong or right. Would you consider it to be a crime? Like veganism, to you, you're saying meat eating is wrong. You're saying that, standing here very confidently. You're saying eating meat is wrong.
I'm saying exploiting others is wrong.
Okay, but mother and the son are consenting.
Are they being exploited?
They have sex with each other.
Exploited?
You still don't get my point.
Are they being exploited?
You still don't get my point. Is it wrong?
I completely get it. It's just
okay,
a completely
so you're trying to, I know
point.
what you mean.
Wait. Is it wrong for a mother?
It's weird.
I got the point, but now you're being diplomatic. You're not giving an answer to me. Is it wrong for a mother to have sex with her son if both are consenting?
Morally, no.
Morally, no. Okay. You?
Yeah.
No, it's not wrong.
If they're both consenting.
So now you are also weird. You are also weird because you have now accepted something morally abhorrent which your nature doesn't accept. Your nature, your inner disposition doesn't accept it. But because you want to be consistent, you want to be consistent with your ideology, you want to say no, it's not wrong. But it is you and I know it is wrong.
Yeah.
It is wrong. But you just said it's not wrong.
If they're both consenting, what's the problem? If they're both consenting.
You see now, this is the point. This is where we draw the line between atheists and Muslims. This is where we draw the line. Yeah. We are better with our spaghetti monster, our imaginary friend, or the heavenly.
It's not about the religion.
This
is not about the religion.
Again, everything you said is not an argument.
Maybe you're not listening to us.
This is not a topic about the religion. Listen, this sign is not about the religion.
Exactly.
I got your point. You said it once,
logic?
I got it straight away. But are you listening to us, the conversation?
Yes.
This issue is directly linked to the concept of morality. You are standing here because of moral reasons. You're saying veganism is right because of moral reasons. Meat eating is wrong because of moral reasons. And I am now going to the foundations, the issue of morality. Before we use a yardstick to judge someone else, we need to establish what the yardstick is. What are you using as your moral criterion, your moral standard, and moral compass? This is exactly why I'm asking you the question about mother and son. If to you it is not wrong for a mother and son to have sex with each other,
consenting. Both consenting.
This is why we believe atheism is counterproductive for humanity. It would eventually lead to the destruction of humanity, and atheists don't actually realize it. Now look at this one. If both consenting adults are having sex, okay, and they're not using contraceptions, they would have children, and those children, as we know, they would be born deformed after a while, right? So your atheism, your morality can actually lead to destruction of humanity. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Maybe,
Tim, very nice talking to you.
It's not a bad thing.
Very nice talking to you.
We are the most destructive species this planet has ever seen.
I agree.
We are parasites on this planet. We are destroying it.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree. Yeah, but I agree. Everything you just said there, we are destructive, we are immoral, generally speaking. We are selfish, we are parasites. I agree, because we have put God aside. We have our own philosophies, our own standards, our own morality. That's why we're destructive. Exactly what you're doing now. Exactly what you're doing. This is the point I'm making, that we are destructive because we have ignored our Creator. Our Creator who created us gave us morality, gave us standards to live by. We ignore His standards and we go into self-destruction. This is how we're self-destructing. This is how we are self-destructing.
Every religion is
So Tim, it was nice talking to you. Thank you very much. I made my points very clear.
Thanks
Now
for
go
promoting-
home,
thanks for
sit
promoting
down,
veganism.
have a cup of tea and think about what I said. If you do not have,
still didn't think answer this argument, by the way.
I've answered your question.
You haven't.
If you have the sense, you will
The
understand.
only thing that you said is that we might need meat for nutritional reasons.
No, I
okay?
didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
No.
You definitely
Again,
did.
you ignored
okay?
all
Straight
the
up.
arguments.
You're lying in front of me and everyone else right now. Now, that is what you said. So I'm going to challenge you in that point. The only valid point you actually made. Okay, we can get those nutrients from plant foods. Okay, so what reason
did
do
you
we
not
have
get
to
my
use
argument? The basic,
answer
the
his
core.
question.
I am answering. The core of my argument is to dismantle your concept of morality. What you are using to argue your case, I've completely removed your basis. Wait. No, you're still not getting my point. I've completely removed your basis. You are standing here for moral reasons. Agreed? You're standing here for moral reasons,
Yeah,
both of you.
so you said that you're
I've removed your basis. So before we go into branches, I've removed the roots.
I'd argue that your morals agree with this, man, because you say you're against animal cruelty, yeah?
Yes, we are.
And you'd say that animals' lives...
Why? Because we have a morality. We
Okay.
follow a moral compass. Okay, that moral compass is God. God tells us animal cruelty is wrong.
Okay, and you say-
Human cruelty to humans is wrong.
You said only we only need to kill them if we need them for food.
Yes.
But we don't need them for food. We have plants, okay?
Okay,
Okay, so why not just live off the plants and not kill the animal needlessly?
but
That's
why
what
kill
I'm
the
saying.
plants? They are also living beings.
They're not sentient beings. They're not conscious.
Who decide? Okay, because you're making a decision on behalf of the tree when you cut it.
Sentience is just another word.
No, it's based on science. It's based on what we can measure.
I understand. Again, science doesn't help you, as I explained earlier.
Would you
So don't
say
use
that-
science. Okay,
Okay, so if that plant is a living being, and I held, a dog and a carrot in front of me, would you say, and I cut them both, would you say that's the same thing?
just because plants, can we kill insects?
Say again?
Insects.
Insects, I don't know. I don't know if they're sentient or not, but I prefer not to. But it's what we can measure as a
So
sentient
you're saying
being.
it is okay to be cruel to non-sentient beings,
So do you
Well,
think
there wouldn't be any cruelty because it's not sentient. It's
but
not
if you're
conscious.
chopping a tree off, it's non-sentient, so it's okay to cut it off.
Yeah.
we're going to live? What
And I'm just arguing.
because it's a
I'm not-
necessity
My
for
argument
surviving.
again. Okay, there it is necessity.
Yeah.
But when it comes to food, it's not necessity.
Yeah, but killing like plants and such, we need that for a necessity.
Right.
We need these plant foods.
Again, the reason why you're standing here is because you have decided for yourself that you have a moral obligation to come and defend animals.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
And I've just dismantled that concept of morality.
You had it because it's again, this is something where fundamentally, our morals are grounded elsewhere. So we're going to have to put that aside because we're not
No,
going to be able to
we
agree.
cannot put that aside. That is the core. That is the core of this discussion.
I'm not gonna agree.
Without morality, you wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't be standing here.
Okay,
Without
so
morality,
me-
I believe in
you
certain.
use Muslim, me as agnostic. Is there any progress we can make in that regard? 'Cause I'm
Yes,
not changing
we
my
can
view.
agree
I'm not
100%.
changing.
Cruelty to animals is absolutely out of the
we can
question.
agree on something.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And we'd say that animal lives matter.
100%.
Okay,
100%.
so if their lives matter, then why would we unnecessarily use them? If we have plants.
I agree with you. We do not use them unnecessarily.
We do though, because we don't have to. We can live and survive off whole plant foods. There's no reason to do it.
Is that leather in its shoes?
No, that's fake vegan leather.
What about the
Fake vegan leather.
impacts when you're actually only consuming plants?
Right.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, no, and it's a good concern. It's worth bringing up.
It is
but
a concern, isn't it?
Animal agriculture is responsible for way more environmental devastation. But the thing is,
Furthermore, we don't have any evidence of any civilization living
Yeah, that's
with
very
only
true.
plant-based
that's
diet. We
very
don't
true.
have it.
But this is a cause worth fighting for. We know through science that we can get
I
all of these
understand
things.
where you're coming from,
Okay.
and I have sympathy with you. But again, you can't just go on and ask people, okay, it's wrong to consume animals.
Because
Yes.
I'm viewing it. I'm viewing it.
You're behaving just like those fundamentalists, religious fundamentalists who want to impose their view on others.
Honestly, all I'm doing is seeing it through the eyes of the victim, the animal. They're getting their necks needlessly slit. We don't have to. So if we don't have to, why are we doing that?
I think this is a reaction to what's happening in a lot of Western abattoirs. There's animal cruelty.
Okay,
People-
but even if
I mean,
it is,
and
even if it
we-
is done, they say humane slaughter, but if you look at the definition of humane, that means to show compassion or benevolence.
Yes.
How can we humanely kill something that doesn't want to die? They want to live.
How do you know
can we
what it
justify
wants?
that if we can live off
How do you know
plants?
what it wants?
Say again?
How do you know what it wants?
Because it runs away from death. It doesn't want to die.
Okay,
Like how
but
simple.
no, they don't know what death is. Animals animals. To argue that they know what death is, you're going to have to prove it scientifically to use science. They don't know what death is. They have no idea. They don't have cognition. Do animals have cognition?
They do have cognition, but I don't know if animals know what death is. But the fact
if your sister was like in some country, like let's say Australia for example,
okay,
and a snake came, poison a snake right in front of her,
but that's necessary to kill.
Yeah, would
because
you kill
it comes
I would because that's okay. That's
unnecessary.
I say it's unnecessary. I say that's
necessary to kill it because that's a harmful animal.
The only
right?
point that I see that it's reasonable is if it's survival and you need it to live.
I am with you as far as the concept you're using unnecessary. Yeah, we with you. We agree. In Islam, as a Muslim, we are told we cannot kill animals unnecessarily. We can't even cut trees. Amazingly, Islam extends this rule to even plants and trees and vegetation. We cannot destroy crops. We cannot cut trees. Deforestation is a crime in Islam. It's a crime in Islam.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are to protect the environment we live in. Okay, we have this harmony with nature. This is what Islam teaches us. This is why it's a balanced view. We're not extremists. We don't follow extremist ideologies, right? I believe veganism is actually an extremist ideology, right?
All veganism means is doing what we can to end the needless use of animals. That's it. That's it.
We agree, 100%. And the needless use of animals. You know what's happening in China with the raccoon dogs,
yes,
the way they get killed? 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
We the Muslims are with you on that.
Yeah.
100% what's happening to animals in Africa. They're being killed for the elephants are being killed for the ivory.
Yeah.
Last 3 years, over 100,000 elephants have been killed for the ivory, and it's being sold in China.
Yeah.
And then raccoon dogs, the fur, and all the other issues, and cruelty in abattoirs.
I was signing petitions against that. I was getting really active on the Yulin Dog
We
Festival
as Muslims
in China. So what I was doing is I was signing against that. But in the meanwhile, I was at the time 2 years ago, I was still eating chicken. So I was just like, there's some degree of cognitive dissonance because both that chicken and a dog are sentient
but there's
beings,
there is another side to the coin. How do you control the population growth of animals if you don't eat them?
We stop breeding them into existence. So going vegan is
do you have the consent? Do you have the consent to stop breeding them?
Well, we're taking
because you're using the issue of consent that when you slaughter the animal, you don't have the consent. But do you have the consent to stop breeding them? Who are you to? Can I castrate you? Can I castrate you?
But I'm not following this through exactly. So
if you do not have the consent of the animals to kill them, do you have the consent?
Yeah, but there's no consent to begin with because they don't exist.
No, but the ones you are castrating, obviously, how are you going to stop them breeding? You're going to separate them, and animals need sex, like all living creatures. Yeah. Okay. For example, if you don't, if you castrate bulls, all the bulls in the world, if you castrate, or you castrate limited number.
We're not saying we're going to castrate them. We're saying,
what are you going to do?
Okay, so
how are you going to stop breeding?
So veganism is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen next Tuesday.
No,
it's a gradual
I'm
change.
asking. You just gave me a solution. Okay. That you're going to stop breeding them to control the population growth. Because if we don't consume them as food, their population will grow to such an extent.
So as demand drops for animal products and as it increases for alternatives.
I got that. Get to the bottom of it. You said the solution is stop breeding.
Yeah,
yes,
but that answers
but
the
do you
question
have the
because
consent to stop breeding? Who are you to stop them from having sex?
Okay, so in the wild, let them do what they want. I'm saying leave animals be.
No, but okay.
But if we have these domesticated
in farms, domesticated animals, you're saying you're going to stop their breeding, right?
Okay.
Yes, is that what you're saying? To control the population growth, right?
Yeah, but there wouldn't be growth to begin with because
I understand
it would be on the decline.
To limit the growth so that we don't have an excessive amount of animals running around in the world. Okay, so they overflow out of farms and run into the world, right?
Yeah.
Or at large in societies and on the streets and marketplaces. So you would control their breeding.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if I do castration, and that's a good question.
No, forget.
Yeah, it's one.
Use an injection. Use something painless. Okay. I'm saying, do you have the consent to do that to them?
No, that's a good question. Because
go and look at. You see, this is why.
And that's one grey area, but the overall.
No, it's a very big grey area. It's a very big, decisive grey area that actually dismantles your philosophy completely. Why? Because you're using the issue of consent when it comes to slaughter, albeit a humane slaughter, right? But when it comes to stop breeding them so that the population growth doesn't occur, you want to use the issue of consent. I mean, you ignore the issue of consent there. So there is hypocrisy. There's double standards.
It's right. In fact, you don't know what the animals want. don't know.
Yeah, but they don't want to die.
But I
Can we
think
agree on that?
yeah.
Okay, if the animals want to die, they'd be committing suicide. It's
No, but you don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
You don't know
You
what
see,
they
this
want.
is why we as
so
Muslims,
okay.
Muslims have a moral system whereby we use animals as
they-
far
which
as
they don't want.
as much as it is necessary to do so.
Which is completely unnecessary.
No.
It is.
That controls the population naturally. We don't stop them from breeding. We still have animals. We use them for food, right? And we don't go into the issue of consent because animals do not have cognition to be able to consent or to be able to not consent. They don't have that cognition, that level of cognition. So we have a very
Yeah, but
consistent
okay,
view.
okay.
That's why I'm a
Okay,
theist.
but
I believe in God, and I believe morality that comes from God is very much beneficial. It protects us. It protects us on this planet. And all these radical theories like veganism and all the rest, they are actually
It's
counterproductive.
not radical. All it means is not using animals. That's it. If we can, if we can live in
But then
survival-
you are being indirectly cruel to them. You're actually stopping them from having.
No, because we okay. For the time being, let's say we allow them to breed in sanctuaries. We
okay,
allow
wait.
them to do their
Wait,
thing.
why-
Let me take back what I said about the consensual thing, because that's a tricky one. I haven't thought about it all too much before. So we have these animals existing in slaughterhouses and farms, and let's say the world does go vegan. It's like okay, I'd say for them it'd be a gradual phase into letting them into their natural
But
habitat.
who
like a
gives you the right to
conservation.
do that to them?
We're trying to allow them as much rights as possible.
Okay, but why are they asking for it? Are they asking for these rights? Maybe they want. It so happens that naturally, this is natural cycle. If they don't die, the environment changes. Things start to happen in nature, which you cannot see. In the long run, we end up with a worse situation than we are in right now. Have you considered that? Look at human population now. One of the biggest
okay,
problems.
That's a human problem, but as far as like the natural
But can we
habitat-
stop humans from breeding?
No, I don't. That's the thing. I don't. No.
Thank you.
We can't stop.
But
it
it's a
now.
big problem.
It is a big problem.
It's one of the biggest problems we're facing in the world. Human growth in population.
But like that is a big problem. But I wouldn't directly tie it to this one. I wouldn't.
So
directly tie it
why
to
would you do that to animals and not to humans?
Because it's completely unnecessary. These animals don't want to die. We're breeding them. Into,
I agree. They
Yeah.
don't. I mean, first of all, when you say they don't want to die, right? You will have to prove that. You will have to prove that they know what death is. And you will have
They
to
don't-
prove.
they don't know what happens.
Once you have proved that they know what death is, you will have to prove that they don't want to die. Okay.
I mean, the thing is,
Because I'm saying they don't have the cognition and the ability to understand what life and death is. They don't know.
Their innate primal drives and their instincts try to guide
And we
them away
believe
from
those
death.
instincts have been given by God. So when a goat,
Death is their least desirable outcome. Okay, they want to
when a
move
kid,
and survive.
for
So the
example,
fact-
I'll give you an example. When a kid is born
Yeah.
from a goat, when it comes out, it goes straight for milk. It goes straight for milk. No one came and grabbed the goat, the baby goat, to go to milk. It comes out, it goes straight for milk. So we believe
Yeah, it goes for
that
breast milk. It goes for breast milk, not cow's milk.
No, it doesn't.
Like
I
cows-
agree.
cows-
I agree. We believe this natural instinct the kid has when it comes out is from God. God, for example, a kangaroo, when it has a baby, it's a very small baby. It crawls up. It crawls up on mother's body and it goes for milk. And now, my question is, how does this baby know where to go? When it comes out, how does it find its way? It can be going that direction, this direction, or anywhere else. It goes into one direction specifically. Why that direction? Because we believe God, who created us, has given us these instincts. Now humans don't do that. Human child, when it's born, you leave it, it cannot go for milk. Mothers have to do it. Animals have the instincts. As soon as animals are born, in most cases they start walking, they start running. In a couple of days you will see them running around, right? Humans, they take like a year, at least 9 months to a year for the kids to walk around and be able to know what's harmful and what's not harmful. But with animals, that's not the case. So you see, we can go into this.
Yeah.
You wanna control their natural instincts.
No, I don't. I want to leave them be. I want to let them be in their natural
Okay,
habitat as much as possible.
good, great.
Yeah.
If you let that happen, then what's gonna happen? If we just leave them to be, what's gonna happen?
They'll
You
live-
tell me.
I mean, just based on what we've studied through thousands of years, they've lived in equilibrium on this planet. there might be minor
They have
changes. Okay, there might be minor changes in population fluctuations for sure.
No, not minor. You know what chicken growth? Chicken. How many people eat chicken on the planet?
Okay, so
billions. Huh? Billions.
So you're saying there's going to be a chicken invasion and an overgrowth? And
If you don't stop.
That would be a good sci-fi.
Yes. Yeah, if you continue as you are today in chicken farms,
we've got tools to protect ourselves. Like, it's not going to get out of control.
So
like,
why do you want to be in a house somewhere with a gun, with a shotgun, where there's a lion sitting outside, there's a chicken invasion? Have you watched this movie Seagulls? There's an old movie where the seagulls they invade an area and people are in trouble and they're trying to protect themselves. Why do you want to end up in that situation?
That's still not a reason to enslave that being. We've got ways to.
But that's a reason to protect your planet.
We've got reasons to.
How would you protect your planet if there is an overflow of animals in a given area?
But in the grand scheme of things, the planet is absolutely fine without humans.
Is it allowed to kill rats?
Say again?
Is it allowed to kill rats? Rats. When they overflow.
I mean, if it's threatening your life, then yeah.
So it's okay to kill them.
That's what I mean. That
so
would
you
be a
don't
necessity.
need. So in that case, you don't need the consent. You don't go to Mr. Rat A, Mr. Rat B, Mr. Rat C. Can I kill you? I'm sorry, I have to kill you.
No, because like I said, no. But what I said before is that you need
unnecessarily.
Like
so who define? Still, you're deciding for the animals what is necessary for them, whether it's necessary for them to live or whether it's necessary for them to die. If they overflow, you go and kill them. You don't ask them, is it okay to kill you? Because you think it is necessary to kill them. Likewise, we Muslims, it is necessary to kill some animals for food to maintain the balance. But you're saying no, let them flow, and when they flow, we kill them.
Nature balances itself out. There's always a way. And
No. Nature has been balancing itself by killing animals.
Okay.
For the last.
And that's what happened.
For the last few millennia.
That's what happens in nature, right? But we as humans, we don't have to use animals and participate in that.
Look,
we can survive.
No. We have been killing. Humans have been killing animals since recorded history.
Yeah.
Since history has been recorded, right? So that's the natural order. You want to change that. You want to change that.
You can look in areas where humans have barely inhabited the area, and there's been balance there.
It's disgusting.
There's been balance there. There's been in areas where there's been barely any humans, nature has thrived, and there's been balance there, and we don't need to do anything. We just leave them be. That's it.
I'll give you one final example, and if it doesn't make sense, then there's nothing more to discuss.
Okay.
In the early 20th century, this is a very interesting example. Camels from India were shipped to Australia. Camels. And these are Indian camels. They're not Australian camels. Indian workers, they were taken to Australia to put some railway lines and stuff like that.
Is it East India? Or
India, Pakistan and India when there was no partition.
The East India Company.
Yeah, East India Company. The British colonial administration, it took hundreds, if not thousands of camels to Australia to use them for work, as a workforce. So these camel herders went with them, mainly from Afghanistan region. So when these people got the job done, bringing the camels back was a very costly enterprise. They left the camels in Australia. Today, one of the biggest pests in Australia are camels. They're going into fields, they are destroying crops. Australian government now pays farmers to shoot them dead. And you're not using them for meat. There was a documentary on Al Jazeera where one of the Qataris, because they love camels, one of the Qatari sheikhs, he went there and he was crying standing next to the corpses of camel. They're simply being shot dead, in the desert, and they just rot. No one's using them for meat. We have people starving to death in, different parts of the world. You can easily ship that meat, but why are they being killed? Because they have overflown. So now, in that case, it's okay to kill them? No consent required?
Okay, if those livestock, if all of those camels, if they threaten your very well-being and they mess with the food supply,
but they are.
There's no other way of getting food.
But your model will create exactly that. I can guarantee you, in 50 years from now, if we all become vegans, if we all become vegans, 50 years from now, human life will be threatened. Our vegetation will be threatened. our provisions, our supply of food, even the entire national cycle, it will be threatened. Have you ever thought about it? I think
so most of our plant crops, all of our soy, all of our corn, that's being fed, the majority of it, to animals. So we're saying stop using animals, and the majority of that will be left to humans. I think it'd be the contrary.
If you stop killing animals, they're going to overflow.
No, but they won't, because the majority of these animals are bred into existence. All of these millions and billions of land animals.
No. These camels,
bred to be eaten,
these
but
camels
we wouldn't have to breed them.
These camels I just talked about in Australia, they're
Okay.
not bred into existence. They were domesticated camels that became wild. Right?
And all of these problems surfaced because we were using and domesticating animals. And in this case, where if it was threatening your very livelihood, then I would say you probably would have to kill them because you have no other way of surviving.
Okay.
That's it.
Tigers in Bengal. Let's give you another example. I can give you examples on topics.
Sure.
Tigers, they need a certain area to live. Each tiger needs a certain amount of kilometers to have its a lot. Now there are two options. You either keep tigers or keep humans. In that case, we can kill tigers, right? To maintain order.
No, if your survival dependent on it, then
yes.
Yeah.
You see, this is the point I'm making. If we go by your model and stop killing animals and leave them to their lives,
only when it's necessary for survival. That's it.
Shake hands.
Okay.
Shake hands.
So
we believe kill animals
so
only when it's necessary to eat them for food.
But we don't have to.
We have to.
We don't.
We are saying we are maintaining.
I've been vegan for 2 years. I haven't used animals for that
You're a
long.
minority in the world. The majority will never be. The majority will never be.
But veganism is growing exponentially as more people realise we don't have to use animals.
It's a way
In the
of
West.
life. Just like
In the
hippies
West.
came and went away.
In the West.
They started the vegetarian revolution.
Yeah.
It's just a new way of being cool.
It's a way of life of
being vegan.
It's a way of life.
Really?
So it's fashion now.
I don't think so.
It's fashion.
It's not fashion. And all those people that do it, they're not real vegans. But they don't.
But you
fashion.
see the
They're
philosophy. We have not talked about your philosophy. How you're coming up with solutions and how we would sort these problems out. These are some real issues. Population growth of animals is a real issue.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm saying if all of us were to become vegans today, right?
Okay.
Animals would overflow.
That would probably be like a big problem, but that's not the reality.
What's your name?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Look.
So
Let's fast forward 50 years.
Okay. So if there's
Adnan is vegan. This gentleman is vegan. All of us, we become vegans. Fast forward 50 years, and now we have chickens all over the place.
They wouldn't. We would figure out ways to stop this from invading our habitat. We'd be fine.
Okay.
If anything, they would stop being domesticated.
Okay.
The chickens would be in their natural habitat, far away from it. They wouldn't be running across
I'm going to ask you a question, very specific question. 50 years fast forwarded, we have animals everywhere. Now our habitat.
Wouldn't have them everywhere.
Wait. Okay, we would. Trust me.
We wouldn't. We wouldn't. Like we'd figure
in
out.
100 years, camels are devastating Australia. Australia is a big country. Australia is a massive country, and camels are devastating the countryside. They're destroying crops of Australian farmers. That's why the government is paying them to kill camels, kill them and leave them to death, leave them to die. Okay, so now I'm imagining 50 years from now, if all of us we became vegans, we would have animals. Definitely, 100%. There's no doubt about that. We would have animals everywhere. What would we do in that case? If that happened, what solution would you propose?
I mean, that's basic survival. So that wouldn't happen. It's a hypothetical.
No. If it happened, it's happening in Australia today. I give you a living example. If that happened, what would you advise?
And it was life-threatening. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Then
it's happening in Australia now.
Then we'd have to defend ourselves.
Okay, kill them.
Yeah.
To maintain the balance.
To survive. Yeah.
Okay. So this is exactly what we're doing. The meat eaters are doing exactly that. We are doing it to maintain balance.
You're not.
We're doing it. We are.
You've got all of these animals in nature.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole situation you described with the camel. Arguably, that was caused by us using animals to begin with. Okay. Because we took them out.
What's happening with the animals?
Okay, so the camels you described, they came from, where was it again? India, all the way to Australia. That was using animals to begin with.
Yes.
And it was taking them out of their natural habitat. We're saying don't take those camels to begin with.
Right.
Leave them in their habitat, and these problems wouldn't come to surface.
Okay. So
if they remain
that's
in
fine.
India,
Yeah.
that problem
What if animals migrate?
Okay.
They migrate, right?
Yeah.
So if the migration grows and they're not being killed, right? So what's going to happen?
Okay.
If chickens overflow, if cows and goats and sheep overflow,
we have ways to defend ourselves.
to kill them, eventually kill them.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with what we're doing now?
Well, because we're breeding them for an unnecessary reason. We don't have to.
No, but
you agree
but
unnecessary.
yes, we agree. We don't breed them unnecessarily. We breed them enough so that we have food.
We do breed them unnecessarily. Like
No, we don't.
We do.
No.
All of
We
these
breed them.
billions
We
of
have
land
stronger
animals.
reasons to be meat eaters than you have to be vegetarians or vegans. I'll tell you why.
Okay,
Because
if
we
you
have
look at-
nutritions. We have controlled population growth. We have a balance in nature, and we have all those benefits. But your solution is so radical that if we left the animals to their own, to fetch for themselves, or even farm them, even then you would be farming them necessarily. You would be farming them necessarily. You're saying they are being farmed unnecessarily. I'm saying you will be controlling the farming.
No.
In that case.
No.
You get my point?
The only farms you'd be controlling would be for the plant crops, but not the animals themselves.
Okay.
My point is
So
that,
what?
okay, I agree
Okay,
with you.
what would be the
There's
incentive? Okay,
there's-
what
there's
would be?
minor- There's minor fluctuations in population.
I have another question. Economically, what would be the incentive for a farmer to farm pigs or cattle or sheep if they're not being used for fur or for leather or for meat?
Well, I'm completely against that practice to begin with. I say,
Okay,
I'd say be
so your solution is leave them now, open the gates of farms, let the pigs come out, let the sheep come out, let the cows come out, leave them, yeah?
No.
Because now there's no
No, it's not-
economic
that's not my-
incentive anymore for farmers to
No,
keep
but
them.
it's a gradual phase that we'd slowly stop breeding them in, and then eventually, as more of the population goes vegan, there would be none left to breed in.
So okay, good point now. What if foot and mouth comes out? You have now a very limited amount of
Well, there
cow
would be
population.
there would be way less foot and mouth because we have way less animals for that
Fine.
to even be likely to happen.
If a
but-
disease comes,
Yeah.
and all the cows you have protected, okay, and you phased out, and you have a small population somewhere because you want to control the population, a disease comes on and wipes the entire species out. Is that fair? Is that fair? Is that fair?
What do you mean? Well, that wouldn't be our fault. So, no, it's not fair.
But you see,
that's-
every angle you're using to justify your position, there's a problem with it. There's a problem
No,
with
there
it.
isn't.
There's
I've
always
counteracted every one of your arguments.
No,
It's
you
logically
haven't.
fine,
Okay,
so
no,
I don't
you
know what
actually
to
think
talk
so. You actually think so.
I know so. Like, there's
then-
not much
then we
more
cannot
to
change
discuss.
each
You
other's
say
minds.
it's completely unsustainable. If you look at the vast majority of our plant crops, that it's wiping out the rainforest. At
But you're
unprecedented
still
rates.
forcing your will upon the animals.
I'm not.
one way or
saying,
another.
I'm saying, well, no, meat eaters are. I'm saying not. I'm saying leave them be. That's it.
Okay, but you just said phase them out slowly.
Stop breeding them into existence.
But who decides?
I'm not saying killing them.
You see,
I'm saying stop breeding
but why are you
them. That's
deciding
it.
on their behalf? Who are you to stop breeding them?
Because their whole existence is for our use. They're domesticated animals. If you look at a domestic cow,
So you're deciding.
domestic chicken,
You are deciding their fate. Eventually, you are deciding their fate.
way less so than you. They're going to be out. They're going to be out in their habitat.
Equally, you are simply controlling the breeding, and we are breeding them
Okay.
for food.
Yeah, but we don't need to breed them for food
Why not?
because we can live off plants.
And we need nutrition from animals.
No, we don't.
We do.
We don't.
We do.
There's plenty of vegans out there that are strong and healthy. So this
Yes.
is going back to your nutrition point that we made earlier. So I think we should need to hash this one out a bit more. Because you think that we need this for nutritional reasons, right? And this is where science strongly disagrees. We can be strong and healthy. and we
Science
can
does
get
not.
all of the
Science does
nutrients.
not tell you whether veganism is right or wrong.
No,
Science doesn't tell
we're
you.
talking about nutrition here. We're not talking about. Because you see this as a strong.
Science tells us there are good nutritions in animals. Correct?
But just as good in plants too.
Okay. So
So,
why are you
okay.
using science to say one way or another?
Because you are using that as an argument against it.
No,
I'm
I'm
pointing
saying,
out your own
so
claim.
I'm using science in my favor. Science is telling us there are good nutritions in animals. Eat them.
Yeah, but
Eat them.
yeah, or plants.
Oh, plants. Eat them. Both. Shake hands on
no,
that.
no.
Why not? Why not?
we don't.
So science, you can't have your cake and eat it. You're using science to argue that there are nutritions in plants and we don't need animals for that. I'm saying there are nutritions in animals and we can eat them.
No,
scientifically.
my main point is that we can have all of the nutrients we need from plants, and we don't have to use animals. That's it. What nutrients are exclusive?
Okay.
Iron deficiency anemia.
Say again?
Iron deficiency anemia is the way that the vegans have it usually.
There are ways to get that from plants. No problem. There's iron in plants. We can get that. No problem. My problem is that he's using science to argue that you
Okay.
you can have plants and you can live by plants, right? You don't need animals, right? But he's using nutrition as an argument, right? Because you get all nutrition from plants. But if I want to eat animals, and I feel like eating animals, right? Like you kill the plants. Yes, you are a murderer, I'm a murderer, so we're both murderers. Shake hands.
Okay, and
Yeah,
again,
you're killing plants.
That's where we fundamentally disagree, because we're coming back to this plant sentient thing, which I completely disagree with.
Well, that's a
You've
good
got-
point. You fundamentally
But nice talking to you guys. Nice,
We
talking,
fund-
You've been
like-
really good. You promote veganism every time you talk about veganism. You promote it really well.
nice talking to you. I have to go and pray my prayer. I have to go pray. I've spent a lot of time with you guys. Thank you so much.
Take it easy. So what are you asking then?
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
European Christianity, for its role in enslavement, the same Pan-Africanists said, why can we not likewise condemn Islam for its role in African enslavement? And they have a point. How sharp is that point? That's the problem. How sharp is that point? Because slavery, as we understand it, in Africa, was on a sliding scale. You had slavery in the form of mild domestic servitude, say among the